Fortnite is one of the most popular games out there and is the battle royale game of choice for millions of gamers around the world. While the game is a barrel of endless fun, there are some things about Fortnite that really just grind our gears. Stay tuned until the end of this video to find out about something that's not only frustrating in Fortnite, but in all of competitive shooters. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with The Gamer, and ring that bell to become part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are 10 things about Fortnite that drive players crazy. Number 1. Squeakers. It seems like every popular video game nowadays is crawling with squeakers, and Fortnite probably has the most we've ever seen. For those of you who don't know what a squeaker is, it's usually a prepubescent child with such a high-pitched voice, it sounds like they're squeaking through the in-game voice chat. Somehow they have a way of getting their hands on games rated M for mature, years and years before they're technically allowed to even play these games. We totally never did that when we were younger. Wink wink, nudge nudge. We've seen them in Call of Duty, we've seen them in Grand Theft Auto, and we see them everywhere in Fortnite. Now if you're mainly a solo player in Fortnite, then you don't have to worry about these squeakers since there's no one to chat with. But if you're mainly a squads player, you know how annoying these guys can be. While having a screechy voice isn't already bad enough, these kids usually act like they're pros, and when they inevitably get eliminated before you do, they'll start telling you how to play the game, criticizing every little thing you do. Even if you get 12 eliminations to his 0, you better believe he'll still dish out pro tips about Fortnite. Luckily, there's a mute button in the game for a reason, and it seems like we just figured out why. Number 2. When you hear a chest, but you can't find it. There's nothing quite like hearing the sound of a chest. It's a sign of good things to come and great loot to be revealed. It's usually not too difficult to follow the sound either. It will usually lead you to an attic or a basement, but sometimes it's just really difficult to locate the sound. You spend 5 minutes running around the building, driving yourself crazy. It sounds like it's right in front of you, but it's nowhere to be seen. You start beating the hell out of the structure in hopes that the chest will reveal itself, and then all of a sudden, you get shotgunned to oblivion. In that desperate effort to find the chest, you forgot to pay attention to your surroundings and took the L. It turns out there was a secret basement, and all you had to do was demolish the floor of the room you were standing in. The only thing you could do to make this less annoying is learn the tendency of chest spawns and get a better understanding of the map. This exact story happened to us one time when we landed on Snobby Shores. It turns out one of the buildings has a secret vault-like basement. Hey, if it took a stupid death to learn something new, we'll take it. Knowledge is power after all. Number 3. When you open a chest and get nothing but common loot. Oh, we're not done with chests yet. No. They can bring us some of the best weapons in the game capable of dominating the opposition, or they can give us an absolutely garbage loot. It's such a terrible feeling to land on a building full of chests and loot the entire place, only to leave with a common burst rifle, 6 grenades and 10 bandages. Even if one of those 5 chests you looted gave you an epic scar, you would have been over the moon ecstatic, but not today. No. Today you'll have and complete the white-only challenge, only to find a way to win the game. It's not a challenge you wanted to take. It was a challenge given to you by RNGesus. That loot definitely doesn't put you in a good position to win the game, but crazier things have happened in Fortnite. We've seen a 1 versus 8 clutch in a game of squads before. We were one of the squads that got wiped, but that's not the point. Moving on, we're trying to say miracles do happen. Who knows, maybe you got nothing but common loot because you're so good at the game and it's a way to balance things? Just kidding. We know you got awful loot because you have terrible chest luck. It happens to all of us from time to time, and there's really nothing you can do to fix it. Number 4. Bush campers. These guys are arguably the most annoying players in Fortnite. With all the great strategies players have come up with in the game, bush camping has to be the worst of the bunch because it requires absolutely 0 skill. All you have to do is crouch inside a bush and fire your weapon when you're 100% certain you're gonna get the kill. That at least makes sense even if it's still a wussy strat. The thing is, that's not what most bush campers do. Oh no, they take things to an even higher level of noob. The worst of the bush campers are the ones that literally don't do anything. They just sit in their bush and hope they finish in second because there's no way they'll be able to win with only common and uncommon gear. Not only will they lose, but it gives their opponent the easiest 1 versus 1 fight he'll ever have. When there's 2 people left, the circle is usually quite small, so if one player can't see the other, he'll resort to shooting objects his opponent may be hiding around. If you're in the bush, odds are that you'll get sniped and your opponent will laugh at your stupidity. Haha! Don't even get us started on the players who become the bush. They're just easy targets since they really stand out. Nothing is funnier than a moving bush though. Let's be honest, except shooting it in the face. Number 5. Overpopulated places. If you're a great Fortnite player, you really don't mind overpopulated places because it means more people to kill and more loot to acquire. You are the hunter and everyone else is the hunted. Insert evil laughter. But for the average Fortnite player, you try to avoid these crowded hotspots like the plague because you know it just means a quick death. Sure, you might get an elimination or 2, but it's only a matter of time until you get exploded. I'm looking at you, Tilted Towers. It's crazy the amount of people who land at Tilted. It's not uncommon for a quarter of the playing field to land in this one spot, which means a lot of eliminations will occur very quickly. For every good Fortnite player, there are about 5 plebs, so it's possible for some players to just tear through Tilted Towers, Pleasant Park, or Retail Row all by themselves. If you can survive one of these places with 5 or more eliminations, you should be pretty much set for the endgame. These places are not for the faint of heart, so unless you feel very confident in your combat skills, you should avoid them for now. Until then, check out the outskirts of Salty Springs or the motel to the west of Anarchy Acres. There's usually good loot there and rarely anyone to fight over it with, so go get 'em, Tiger. Number 6. Messing up a build during a firefight. There's nothing quite like an encounter in Fortnite. That excited feeling you get when you see movement, the sweaty palms, the heavy breathing. The chase is on, and when you pull the trigger, you think you got this in the bag until he starts building upwards. And it's no biggie, you can decide to start building upwards as well. You start building a 3-story tower as quick as you can. You got this. Once you finish building the tower, you see him engaged in combat with someone else. So now's your chance to get the jump on not 1, but 2 players at the same time. You build your tower even higher, and everything is going smoothly until you accidentally build a roof cap instead of a wall and get sniped from 200 meters away by someone you weren't even targeting. You had the right idea, but for whatever reason, you built a roof cap and it ultimately led to your demise. That's just the way Fortnite goes sometimes. Take it or leave it. From time to time, we all panic in clutch situations, and it's that panic which often leads to a loss. We see it in all kinds of sports, including esports. Those who stay cool under pressure are the ones who win. It's very frustrating to die because you messed up a build, but if you practice building as quickly as you can, it'll become second nature, and you'll stop making mistakes like this one. Number 7. Getting killed by a trap. Let's face it, we've all died to a trap at one point or another, and it's always an infuriating experience. Sometimes a building looks like it hasn't been looted, so you open the door and run in it without looking at the ceiling. 2 seconds later, spikes come from the top and you're eliminated. This leads to a lot of swearing and confusion, as well as a big sigh before we queue up for another game. The worst traps are the ones you know are there. You see someone on top of a house and want to make your move, but you notice a couple of traps around the entrance. You don't have a suppressed weapon to take out the traps, so you're forced to come up with a different plan of action. It's okay, you can just sneak behind him and build stairs to the roof. The problem is that the second you start building stairs, he hears you and retreats inside of the house. And in the heat of the moment, you forget about the traps and focus on the kill. That doesn't bode well for you, as that trap you forgot about just ruined your game. In the end, you'll just have to admit you got outplayed, but it's easier to be salty about the loss than it is to congratulate someone for defeating you. Number 8. Getting killed by C4 while looting a supply drop. One of the latest updates in Fortnite, as of this video, added remote explosives, better known as C4, to the game. Like every new item that's introduced into the game, people thought C4 was going to be an OP throwable, capable of changing the game for the worse. That didn't turn out to be the case, since Epic Games decided to make the blast radius quite small to balance the weapon. That being said, the remote explosives are quite useful in regard to surprising the enemy. If you know he's behind a wall, blow the wall up with C4. Switch to a shotgun and your opponent won't know what hit him. So C4 has its uses, but players started thinking outside the box to find other ways to surprise gamers with the throwables. Cue the supply drop. For some players, it's simply not enough to get a legendary weapon from a supply drop. They want to use the thing as a trap for players. These players place C4 all around the supply drop, hope someone is stupid enough to not notice the flashing blue lights and blow themselves to smithereens the second they open the supply drop. There's a saying that goes, if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is, and those words ring true in the world of Fortnite as well. Number 9. Building a huge base only to be outside of the next circle. Winning a game of Fortnite requires both skill and luck. It requires skill because you need to know how to use each weapon, when to use them, and you need to be able to hit your shots. You need to think of where most players will come from and how they will rotate towards the circle. The game requires luck because you need to get loot to win, and you need the circle to stay around the area you decided to land in. Sometimes we find ourselves right in the center of the next circle, so naturally, we decide to make a giant base. The whole squad gets to work and we drop thousands of materials into this impenetrable fortress. There are traps all over the bottom and multiple areas to avoid a grenade bombardment. It's the perfect castle. Then you learn about the location of the next circle and you're not inside of it. In fact, you're not even close because it decided to go over Lucky Landing and half of the circle is in the ocean. All of those materials and the hard work you put into it for nothing. It's not like you could reharvest the materials, so it's all a big waste of time and resources. What a shame. Number 10. Lag. We don't think there's anyone on the planet who can stay calm while experiencing lag. It's just not possible. When something out of your control is ruining your gaming experience, it's just frustrating beyond belief. Lag is present in every multiplayer game to some degree, and sometimes it can even get into your single-player games if they're not optimized properly. While the lag on Fortnite is much worse on console than on PC, it's honestly not too bad compared to something like Call of Duty. That being said, the lag can get very bad at times. Sometimes you'll have trouble walking through a door, and to everyone else it looks like you're slamming your head into a closed door over and over again instead of trying to open it. It also makes you a difficult target to hit for others, since you're teleporting all over the place, which can ruin their experience too. Luckily, Epic Games listens to the community, and they've done their best to rectify the lag issues. We still get lag from time to time on both the console and PC, but they've done quite a good job at reducing it. Even if you play while downloading and uploading, the game stays relatively consistent. For a free game, Epic Games certainly knows how to treat their players properly, and we hope that never changes. Wow, there you have it. Those are just some of the most annoying things about Fortnite. What do you think is the most frustrating thing about Fortnite? Is there any we missed? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to TheGamer to keep up to date with all things gaming. Thanks for watching.